double shot of
the
actually,
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I gotta get my little cup
there
here.
you go. There you go.
Then we
little
gotta take a little
caffeinated.
sip, yeah. Because we have a dark and bold creature for you today. Just like we promised.
Yeah, in the holiday
In
spirit.
the holiday spirit. Woo! Of course, we are talking about Krampus.
Oh man, I don't know who comes up that comes up and they're like, you know what? We got a jolly guy who's gonna bring Christmas gifts.
Yeah,
and
then we're gonna have
how are we gonna scare? We gotta balance this out. We don't need too much happiness.
We don't need too much happiness. So this was what I thought was really interesting, and I think you guys will be interested in it too. I always thought Krampus was a completely separate a myth, demon than Santa. Of course, with Santa's pointy ears, there are some thoughts that he is an elf or a fairy or whatever, right? We don't really know, because I don't think he takes his hat off.
I
You
don't
ever
know.
seen him without his hat?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
There's
I know there's a thought, right? So apparently, Krampus is actually it's a kind of an Alpine, Germanic, I think it's Scandinavian type of folklore, right? Apparently, he showed up. I want to get this correct for you guys. It was a long time ago, 6th or 7th century.
And then this was when Saint Nick was still around, like when because he was based off of a saint.
Yes, he was actually based off of a real saint, but Krampus, his origins are he is the son of a god. I think it's a Norse god. Let me see if I can find. So
pictures are petrified. We're looking online and I'm like,
oh my god. So he actually, it's not saying here who his dad is, but I did see it on my phone, which is what we're filming on. So he is the son, I think it was Tor or Hor or something, Huel. Started with an H, but he is the son of a god, and he came into existence about the 6th or 7th century.
Okay.
And what he does is he actually travels with Santa.
Santa's like, everybody needs a sidekick, I guess.
Exactly. And some people describe them as the yin and the yang.
Which would make
right?
sense.
So then it's like, with the children, it's like, are you a good child or a bad child? Here's jolly Saint Nick.
Yeah.
Who's going to give you treats and a good orange and maybe a little candy cane. And then you have Krampus with his chain and his little whip thing and a sack. I imagine if you're a really bad child, he just throws you in the sack and he takes you back and eats you. It's like, oh
keeps getting better and better. You're like, okay. My thing as a parent is I look at this and I know why they did it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But then
right?
I look
yeah.
and I'm like,
terrifying.
do I want to pass that line?
I know.
And be like, there's no gifts, but if you're really bad.
If you're really bad, you're not just getting cold.
You're going to get eaten.
You're going to get eaten.
You're getting eaten.
Cease to exist. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So apparently it kind of went fallow for a little while. And of course in the 70s, there was a resurgence in this Krampus tradition. Yep. And then apparently in about 2015, it came back again with the movie, right? Because we did a reaction trailer.
And then we have the parade.
And the parade.
But I think the parade was back, 90s is when it started?
They have the parades now.
Yeah.
People, they dress up.
And it's petrifying.
It's petrifying. And it is intended to scare children.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes. That's our whole goal.
That's our whole goal.
Yeah.
Like, you look at some of the videos. Like, I looked at the videos. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's not like fun, funny. No. They want to scare the kids.
Well, yeah.
Because that's what they're supposed to do.
That's their goal. And so the parents who are taking their kids to this are like, they've already scarred their kids.
Yeah.
That the kids are like, bring it on. My parents have worked me up to this.
Absolutely. So then I found one story which I thought was particularly interesting that sometime, I think it was in the last 7 or 8 years, there were immigrants from like Afghanistan and the Middle East and those places to some of these alpine towns where they really do Krampus up in these alpine towns, okay? And so there was a discussion about, well, what do we do? Because these people are coming from a completely different culture and we don't want to terrify them
exactly.
at Christmas time. So what they said is they made a concerted decision that they were going to educate the children on the origins of Krampus and what he was for and what they do, and continue with their parades, and then at least people would get a cultural understanding, right, of what Krampus is all about.
Which makes sense, especially when, I mean, that's part of your history.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You don't want to just lose it because...
yeah, because you're talking about 6th or 7th century, 5 or 600, right, AD, which is... That's a long time. That's a long time. So he's half goat and half man.
Yep.
And there's some pictures from the Victorian era, like illustrations where he's in a Victorian suit and he's grabbing the kids.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, the tongue. I'm like, yeah, the Norse gods were pretty brutal.
Well, yeah, and if you think of any kind of Norse god and their children,
Oh,
all of them, you're sitting there going, "Oh man, people are like."
Yeah, yeah, and if gods are reflective of the culture, can you imagine what the people were like?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Oh my god.
And then the stories that we tell our kids to scare them. That's fascinating to me also.
Oh, that's true.
The warning stories. Because you know this is some type of warning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it probably came from Christmas time. And kids were getting too friendly with strangers.
Yes.
And people were probably disappearing.
Yeah.
And so it could be. I mean, could be.
Yeah.
And
because
then
there's usually that little seed of a reality of why this is going on.
Yep,
right?
exactly. And that's how the boogeyman came to life.
True, true. And Dark Man.
Yep,
right?
Dark
Man as well. And that's a whole other... We'll dive into that eventually too. The whole Dark Man, Slender Man.
Yes.
You know. I actually had never heard of Krampus until I saw Grimm. Did you watch that TV series Grimm?
Yeah, that was a good one. I heard about this before.
Okay.
I watched Grimm, and it was at a coworker. He knew about it, and he's like, "Have you heard about Krampus?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "He's the one that eats
children
kids during Christmas." And I'm like, "What? Tell me more."
Exactly. No. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, this is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I just was like, I'm like watching the episode. I'm like, what? Which if you've never seen Grimm,
it's a good one.
It's a fabulous program. I was sad to see it to go away, but I was like, I could recognize all the other fairy tales and all the other creatures, but I'm like, who is this?
Well, yeah,
right. And he's like, you know, but Krampus just didn't go for kids. He went for like homeless people underneath the bridges.
Oh, so yeah,
So you don't know if he's a bridge troll or what he is, right? And then they're like, oh, it's Christmas time, and the guy figures out it's Krampus because he's dragging him away in a sack, right? And I'm like, oh my
I would want to know where he's getting these sacks. He's like, okay, there's one. I got another one.
Does he label them?
Yeah,
exactly. Oh yeah, but it's you see some of these pictures of the parades.
It's petrifying,
and it's almost like they're works of art, though. The costumes,
yeah, and
right?
some of them are like mechanical.
Yes,
and they're large, and people spend like the whole year prepping for this parade.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just
amazing.
to like scare people.
Oh yeah. Which I would totally be there. I would not bring my kids.
No.
But I would love to go and see it.
And it's always at nighttime.
Yep.
Right? Which is like,
yeah.
It doesn't make it any
adds
better.
A little bit.
It's always fine when you're like in the crowd, but it's like when you're walking home. You're like,
wait a minute. Oh, no. And
oh
especially after watching that one with the parade for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like,
it's like, oh, gosh. Yeah. It's those little small town movies that you're just like, oh, man.
Yeah. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
I got someone
Stuff
eating
is
someone.
Exactly. Something's going down.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they never go into what actually happens when he eats them. Like with the Hansel and Gretel, right? She throws them in the oven, right? That Thanksgiving movie threw them in the oven, or whatever.
That one, that one scarred me. Every time I think of that little the corn
cob
oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my God. No, thank you.
Oh
horrible.
man, yeah. Some things you just can't get out of your head.
No, you can't.
No. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them.
No.
So, anyway, so that's what we got for you today with Krampus.
Yeah.
We did tell you we'd come back with a story, half goat, half man.
Yep, and a little bit of a tip.
And a little,
always be nice.
And always be
naughty.
nice.
Don't be naughty.
Because who knows, right?
Yes,
you never
exactly.
know these, Krampus people.
I'm like,
but there was, I also found apparently there's Krampus ghost tours, I believe, in Florida, right?
In Florida?
Yeah.
Why in Florida?
I don't know.
And how is it a ghost tour? Like, is it just about legend, or that would be?
It's a company that does ghost tours all over the United States, so they do a Krampus tour as well.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, so they do Krampus tours in the United States.
That's...
Or maybe they just do a parade, but they said it was a tour.
Okay, so that's something. If it's a ghost tour and it's something to do with Krampus and it's like an actual, like...
Can you imagine?
Come to this house.
Go down to the basement. Yeah. It's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No.
That would be neat to go to, though.
That would
be
like
fun to go cross that off our list of like we've been to.
We've been to Krampus ghost house. I remember just recently. I think I sent it to you. The comedian Matt Rife, I think is his name. He's totally controversial. If you don't like him, you don't like him. If you like him, you like him. He's like a pro comedian. But he toured the basement of the Conjuring house. And the video is hysterical because he's like, get me out of here.
Oh, I can imagine.
And it's all in night vision.
Yeah.
Right? Because God forbid you take an actual light
down
there. I'm like,
oh yeah, turn on everything, do it during the middle of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Switch on the lights. So, interesting.
The Conjuring house. That's fascinating to me. that's another one I would love to visit.
Yeah, you know more about that than I do, but it would be interesting for us to go visit the Conjuring house.
Really cool.
Just to go.
Just to go.
Just to go.
And be like, in and out.
Exactly. I'll go. You go first, Sarah.
I would be in there in a heartbeat. I would be scared, but I would
be in there.
I would be like
in there. Yeah.
Like, put my back against the wall, walk around the whole house.
I don't like walking behind people, so I'd probably be like, "Hey, can I go first?"
Like, we're shoulder to shoulder.
We got stuck in the door. So anyway, so that's our story for Krampus today. Let us know what you guys think about Krampus. If you have any extra information that we didn't cover. And again, thanks for joining us. And if you like our content, make sure to subscribe and like, and that pushes us all out onto the algorithm and all that jazz. And thank you for our subscribers that we've gotten in the last couple weeks,
which is super exciting,
super awesome. So we are always excited when we get a subscriber. So anyway, we will see you in the next one.
All right, bye you guys.
Bye bye.